Hello again, and thanks very much for joining us. Here are business stories making headlines at this hour. I am Michael Nath. A three-man panel, the Court of Appeal Lagos Division, has upheld the conviction of a former managing director of defunct bank PHP PLC, Francis ATUCHE, as well as the bank's former chief financial officer, Ugo Anyanwu. ATUCHE and his co-convicts, Anyanwu, had approached the appellate court to set aside their conviction by Justice Latifa Okunu of the Lagos State High Court sitting in Ikeja, Lagos on June the 16th, 2021 over a 25.7 billion naira fraud. The panel, comprising Justices Sadiq Umar, Adebukola Banjoko and Kayode Bada, while resolving all the issues in the appeal in favor of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, except the sentencing, also clarified that ATUCHE's jail term was 12 years concurrently rather than 120 years handed down by the lower court if calculated consecutively. Also, the panel reduced Anyanwu's jail term from 10 years to 8 years and affirmed the discharge and acquittal of ATUCHE's wife, Elizabeth. In an abridged ruling read by Justice Umar, the three-man panel upheld the EFCC's arguments and unanimously dismissed the appeal. The federal government claims to have disbursed the entire $322.5 million Abacha Loot of 2017 to 1.9 million poor and vulnerable Nigerians. David Ugola, executive director of ANIGE, an independent monitor providing independent report on the use of the funds, made this disclosure in Abuja. Ugola told reporters that the Abacha Loot is exhausted and interest of $11 million was accrued in the money, but it was saved and was dispersed to around 1.9 million poor Nigerians. Ugola added that no politically motivated data was used in selecting the beneficiaries. The National Social Registrar was used to determine those who will benefit. The register is updated regularly to remove those who have died. Ugola, however, promised to publish by the end of next month state-by-state data of how the money was disbursed. The International Monetary Fund has advised the Central Bank of Nigeria to strengthen Nigeria's national identification systems and make Know Your Customer requirements easily enforceable as the E-NAIRA integration into the payment ecosystem continues. In a report released on Thursday, the multilateral institution said the CBN and other central banks in Africa will need to develop the expertise and technical capacity to manage the risk to data privacy, including from potential cyber attacks and financial integrity, as central bank digital currency gains ground. The fund said the CBDC could trigger risks of citizens pulling too much money out of banks to purchase digital currencies, affecting banks' ability to lend. IMF in its report stated that central banks will also need to consider how CBDCs affect the private industry for digital payment services. It has made important strides in promoting financial inclusion through mobile money. The IMF also said South Africa and Ghana central banks are exploring or in the pilot phase of a digital currency following Nigeria's October introduction of E-NAIRA. Analyst has emphasized the need for a unified exchange rate to address the scarcity of the dollar and the crisis in the foreign exchange market. While speaking on the IBrandTV's Business Breakfast Show, Chairman Ikeja District Society of ICANN, Olusegun Okwade, says in order to address the thriving parallel forex market in the country, the government must adopt a unified exchange rate or preferably allow the free market operations where demand and supply dictate the taste.
Don't forget that the Vice President is the chairman of the economic think tank that is actually talking. But my challenge has been that the two has not been talking in the same direction. Because there was a time the chairman of the economic summit was saying that let's actually unify our currency in such a way that we know that the forces of demand and supply is what plays out. In your prologue that you read at the beginning, you said the rate at the exchange where it's being traded is about 400 and something naira to a dollar.
Yes.
Yeah, 420 naira to a dollar. But you and I understand that that's not what is obtainable, because how many people have access to the dollar in exchange at the primary market that we're talking about? You know, majority of the people goes about to get this dollar from the black market, from the people outside it, because the CBN are not meeting the demand of an average supply, and because of the bureaucratic setting, if you are able to unify it, suggested by the vice president, which the president is still saying they are studying, at least it will give a leverage. Everybody knows that whatever you get in the bank is what you get outside it. So then the law of demand and supply will play to bear. People that are rushing out to get the dollar cannot get it from the bank, and when the demand is actually there and the supply itself is available. Because majority of what people are doing is that rather than pushing those currency to the bank, when they know that they are going to have less gain, they decide to push it to the black market where they will have more gain, even when they have actually gotten it at the official rate. So that's why I see reason in unifying it. But I don't know. The president has the final say, and you and I understand why this is. Now, don't forget, most of the things that we are.
The Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry has advised the Central Bank of Nigeria to expand its targeted intervention schemes to support the productive sectors of the economy to reduce the cost of production. Chinyere Omna, Director General of the LCCI, made the calls for restating the position of the Chamber on the recent hike in the monetary policy rate by the Monetary Policy Committee of the CBN from 11.5% to 13% following recent fundamentals in the economy. She pointed out factors responsible for the rising inflation to include an epileptic supply of premium motor spirit, high costs of automotive, gas, oil, electricity, tariff hikes, insecurity, and the liquidity crisis in the foreign exchange market. According to the LCCI DG, these factors have continued to put pressure on the cost of production, translating to higher prices or cost-push inflation. She emphasized these headwinds must be tackled head-on for the inflationary pressure to be tamed sustainably. Now, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria says its members are ready to sell petrol at 165 naira per litre if they can get supply from private depots. The government approved ex-depot price of 148 naira per litre. IPMAN also called on the management of the NNPC to take more than passing interests in activities at the private depots owned by members of the depots and Petroleum Products Marketers Association. The National President, IPMAN, Debo Ahmed, and National Publicity Secretary, Chinedu Okadike, made this known in a joint statement. They expressed concern over the sale of petroleum products to members of IPMAN above the NNPC-approved templates of 148 litres or naira per litre, which they noted was inimical to their survival. Ahmed, however, called on NNPC to save his members from the excesses of depots and petroleum products marketers. The federal government says it is determined to create an enabling and attractive environment for businesses in Nigeria. This was contained in a statement by the Assistant Director of Public Relations, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, or SAGA Edward. The statement quoted the Minister of State for Transportation, Bemisola Saraki, saying this when she embarked on a tour of facilities and assets of the NIMASA. She was quoted to have added that collaboration amongst all maritime agencies of government in terms of information gathering and sharing was key to achieving this. Bemish Saraki has stressed the need to sustain the momentum to ensure that Nigeria remained attractive to investors, adding that the ministry was delighted to the steps taken by NIMASA to address the issue of war risk insurance premium on Nigerian-bound cargoes.